Have you ever wondered why some candidates get an offer every time they attend a job interview? And you have attended several interviews and you don't get a call back, neither do you get an offer. And it's sometimes, very disheartening. I know it can be, but uh, the truth is, the fact that you've been invited for an interview simply means that you're a potential candidate for that role. So why not get an interview? Today I'm going to be sharing a few tips that I think will be helpful. And so that the next time you go for the interview, your chance of getting the job is significantly high. But first and foremost, let's talk about why interview. What's that concept about? Let me simplify it in two ways for you. What is happening in interview? The first thing is they want to match whatever competencies or technical expertise you've documented. The hiring manager or recruiter wants to ensure that there's alignment. And by the questions they've asked you or they're asking you, they want to be sure that you can do what you said you can do in your profile and your resume. And that's the first critical thing. The second critical thing is they want to be sure you're going to be a culture fit. They want to be sure that you're going to acculturate very well and you're going to be able to work with the teams and align with the organizational values and beliefs and all of that they want to be sure. And so with that understanding, the first critical thing when you're going for an interview is to come prepared. This might sound very simple, but a lot of folks go into an interview without being fully prepared. Some candidates are even overconfident and they feel it's just easy, it's just talk. No, it's not just talk. So go to your next interview prepared. Take your time to break down the job description. Understand the language in the job description. Understand how it is framed. Have a clear picture of the problem they need you to come and solve as documented in the job description. That is very critical. In fact, take it a step further by going through your profile and going through your work experience and matching every problem that you have solved based on all the key elements in the job description. That will help you have pictorial views. That will help you come up with stories about the time that you've dealt with that situation in your past experience. And that is critical. The second thing is this: take your time to go through the social footprint of the organization. Go and check their website. Check everything they're saying in that organization. Check their vision statement, check their mission statement, check their mantra, check their social media footprint. And one of the reasons why you're doing this is because you want to understand what are their values. You want to understand what motivates and inspires them. Why are they doing what they're doing? And you want to understand their language. Now, I tell people, going for an interview is like going on a date. Because essentially you're going to observe that person and they're going to be observing you, asking you questions to determine if they want to see you again, if they want to move it forward. So go prepared. The same way you go prepared when you're going on that date. Remember? The same way you go and check that person's profile, you go to their Facebook, you go to their LinkedIn, you see what they like, you know everything about them. In the same way, prepare for your next interview that way. Check out the words, check out the phrases that they use often. Check out, the things that inspire them. And so that when you are answering your question, you are using the same expression, you are sharing the same values, and you're depicting that, there's alignment. And if they give you this opportunity, you are going to be that person that exhibits all the behaviors or all the cultural context, all the values that is important to that organization. And that's important. And that is about speaking their language. You have to speak their language. You have to use their own expressions and use their words. Another critical reason, another critical thing that you can do to help you, get that job is to win their heart. Remember, I use the typology of a date. Now, you're dealing with human beings. And what is one of the ways you can win the heart of the person sitting on the other side? Number one, show your technical competencies, but your ability to tell stories would get you closer to their heart. You're telling relevant stories. When they ask you those behavioral questions, you're telling relevant stories that shows how you have dealt with similar issues in the past that is relevant or might be the exact same thing they're dealing with in the organization. And every time you tell that story, you find out that, wow, they feel a connection with you because you're telling the story that is relevant and shows that when given this opportunity, you're going to solve their problem the way you've done it in the past. And that is very critical. Another thing you need to do in your next interview is to ask questions. Now, this might look simple, but it is very important. There's some candidates, I've interviewed some candidates and say, oh, you have a question? They say, no, we don't have any question. You have answered all my questions. Every time you ask a question, you're showing the interviewer that you are interested in them. You're showing the interviewer that you've done your research. You're showing the interviewer that there's something you need to know or you like to know. And what are the simple questions you can ask? Ensure that you ask a question that makes them journey into the future and make them see you as that person that will solve their problem in the future that they're seeing. Questions like, tell me, what are the critical results or outcomes you're going to see in the next 6 months or 1 year that will make you know that you chose the right person for this role? That kind of question will make them journey into that future and they will see you in that future. And then they will tell you about the big bets, the thing that's critical sort of success factor for that role. And that engenders you more to the recruiter or the hiring manager. Another question you can ask, and this is a deal breaker for most of the time, and that is ask the hiring manager, what is it about this role that takes away your sleep at night? This question every time works a magic because it shows that you're empathetic. It shows you're interested in making the manager sleep well at night by doing your work effectively and efficiently, by solving the problems that they need you, to solve. Another critical thing I want to share with you is to bring your whole self to that interview. Be authentic. You're right? Because managers or interview managers or the team, anybody that is speaking to you, they see through you. So come with your authentic self, right? You don't need to fake anything. You don't need to, come up with stories that you cannot back. So come with your authentic self. Use examples that that aligns. Talk about your experiences that is relevant, based on all the research you've done, based on the job description, based on the contextual questions they're asking you. Remember, most interviews is always behavioral questions. So do your research. I have what I call the toolbox, right? The story kits toolbox. Bring your authentic self. Let your body language speak the message. Be passionate. Show your passion and enthusiasm. If they ask you questions, and this is another point you need to know, if they ask you questions that you don't have the answer, instead of rambling, right, or just using filler words, let them know. Ask them, can I get back to you on that? Or can you rephrase that question in a different way? It is better to answer a question that you know in the way that you know it than answer a question that you don't know with wrong answers. Of course, that takes away from your mark. And that is something that you want to pay attention to. And the final thing you need to do, after asking questions and going through all this process, is to ask for the job. Ask them to give you the job, especially when you know you've done a good job, especially when you've seen the connection, you've made connections, you've seen their body language, right? Ask for the job. In one of my videos, I'm going to share, some of the signs that will let you know that, you get a call back or you get the job. I'm going to share that. But, I've shared a few things today and I hope I've been able to communicate some critical things you need to do that will help you get your next job. Until I meet you again, stay on top. Cheers.